Open Mondays, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Tuesday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Open Saturdays by appointment. We're located at 6525 2nd Avenue. Call 313-873-0016.
Get fit with Brett, certified personal trainer. Brett gets results. For only $10, you can be a part of the Bali by Brett Boot Camp. Bali by Brett provides customized fitness training. Bali by Brett provides both private sessions or group sessions. Classes are forming fast. Pick up the phone and call 248-382-8514. $10 can change your life. Call now. 248-382-8514. Come to Bali by Brett Fitness. Yvette Meadows' CD, Simply Me, featuring the single Face to Face. Yvette Meadows. Music you will enjoy listening to. Yvette Meadows. Pick up your copy of Yvette Meadows' CD, Simply Me, produced by Beat Ma Production. Yvette Meadows, Simply Me.
Are you unemployed, broke, or just need extra cash? Did you know that there is a brand new program offered by the Obama administration that will put cash in your pocket? If you have a friend or loved one age 60 or older, or under 60 and disabled, you can get paid to do what you're already doing, which is taking care of them. This program is for a limited time only, called United Home Health Care at 1-855-978-HELP, and get paid today. Livernois Appliances and Mattresses Sale and Service, 14040 Livernois Avenue. Used washer or dryer, only $125. Used refrigerator or stove, only $150. Brand new mattresses, wholesale price. Twin set $139, full set $199, queen set $229, king set $349, brand new. Deliveries start at $25. Call 313-883-4444.
Come to My Tactical Advantage. Extensive fitness training, self-defense training, close combat training, weapons training. Come to My Tactical Advantage. 16239 Myers Road, Detroit, Michigan.
Get the tactical advantage.
Get the tactical advantage. Courtesy Crowd Patrol gets the tactical advantage.
Get the tactical advantage.
And leave nothing to chance.
The following program does not reflect the views and opinions of Channel 33, its management, or sponsors. You're watching Power Talk on your community TV station, UHF TV 33, Detroit, Highland Park.
Welcome to Metro Foodland, where you will always find courteous service. Our hardworking staff always gives their all to maintain our dairy fresh and wholesome products, cold cuts, premium meats, and of course, we have some of the freshest produce around. Check out our deli and bistro. We also carry specialty items such as Tanisha Noni, Water Station alkaline water, and much, much more. If we don't have it, just ask, and we'll do our best to get it. Remember to ask how to join our Healthy Rewards Club. Seniors and ladies, always ask for an escort to your vehicle. We'll see you soon at Detroit's own community grocer, Metro Foodland, located at 18551 Grand River. That's 18551 Grand River, near Finkel and the Southfield Freeway. Remember, that's Metro Foodland.
Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33. Good evening. Welcome to Mixing It Up. My name is Barry Ross, and I certainly want to wish everybody watching a very happy, healthy, safe, prosperous New Year. to all those out there that are watching the show. And I want to remind you that we are live on TV 33, WHPR. This is the only black community TV station in the state of Michigan that reports the truth. We are not engineered. We are not guided to report stories the way we want you to know them. You're going to hear the truth on this station. I couldn't live with myself if I don't present the truth as it is. I only wish that all of you watching and listening could have heard me last night, because I asked everybody in a room full of church people, how many of you in here are sellouts? How many of you would do something for money against the nature of this church or against the people in your neighborhood? I want to remind you, the numbers flash across the screen. We want to welcome you to call us. You're going to want to call tonight. They're all 313 numbers. They're all 868 numbers, 0342, 0351, 4336. This is TV 33. If you got the digital box and you don't have cable, you're good. If you got Comcast in Detroit, we're on 20, we're on 90, and we are on line. TV33, WHPR.com. All of my shows within 3 days are downloaded onto my Facebook, Mixing It Up with Barry Ross, on YouTube at RossBD51. And as I said, I want to welcome everybody again to the show tonight. I have a guest tonight in a couple minutes. Her name is Teresa Pequez, and her eldest son, I'm correct, right? Her middle son was murdered approximately 7 years ago. 6 years ago? 2007?
Yes.
2007. And Teresa was the deputy mayor of Ecorse, and she's going to tell us what she thinks happened to her middle son. And we also have the mother. What was your son's name, Anthony?
Yes.
We have Anthony's mother here tonight. What's her name? No, what's Anthony's lady's name?
Oh, his
wife?
Parethia.
Parethia?
Yes.
Parethia and his daughter, Anaya, is here tonight. And Teresa's other son is the youngest son, and Lawrence is here tonight. Her whole family's here. We want to welcome you for coming. And this is your sister, aunt?
No, great aunt-in-law.
Okay, the great aunt-in-law is here. We're going to find out her name in a minute. What's her name?
Margaret.
All right, Margaret Page is here tonight. And that's a lot to remember, but you're going to see as this story unfolds, you're going to want to hear about it. And then, of course, the last segment of my show at 10 o'clock, Reverend Maya Reynolds, tonight, again, is going to hit you hard with the traditions of Kwanzaa. And I'm not sure, because I haven't seen it yet, there might be a little cooking involved. Last week, she was cooking in the kitchen of her home, preparing a Christmas dinner. She was preaching. She was teaching. There was culture. There was knowledge about nutrition. And as you know, in the city of Detroit, we don't have adequate food. We're living with fast food, not enough supermarkets. The children are growing up with steroids from McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Taco Bell. That's why these young people are so large. They're bringing chicken to market in this country too fast. It's supposed to take a chicken about 8 weeks to reach maturation to its mature rate. They're bringing them to market at 5 weeks because they're pumping them up with steroids. So our children are eating steroids, whether we realize it or not. That's why you might see a 6-year-old little boy or little girl that is considerably overweight, and this is all the time. When I went to school, when I was in elementary school, we didn't have young people in my school that weighed 200 pounds that were in kindergarten. I mean, what I'm seeing today with young people, it's really sad. So we want to educate you on nutrition and let you know there's other alternatives other than always eating McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, potato chips, and pop. There's other things you can do with food. This is a new year. Thank God. We can put 2013 behind us. And as many of you know, I'm very close with Minister Malik Shabazz, and I was sitting here listening to him tonight and I have to tell you that I was crying. My level of compassion for this man's heart and his love for you in this city goes beyond compare. We need to start loving one another. We need to start recognizing that no matter who you are in this city, we are all family. We're all one. It doesn't matter who you are or what you believe or what kind of God you believe in or what race or what kind of preferences you have. We need to love one another. And we're not looking out for one another. We are not looking out for one another. And you know what the true power we have in this city is? Is ourselves. Because we cannot depend on conventional government to come and save us, because it's evident they're not saving us. When we need the police, they're far and few between. When we need lighting in our neighborhood, it's not provided. Jobs aren't provided. Quality food isn't provided. The libraries are closing. They're talking about taking over Belle Isle. Education, the government schools, these EAA schools. It's evident to me, and it should be apparent to all of you by now, that our government is only concerned about bringing in big, rich money and producing it in this city and knocking down all these houses one day that are abandoned. There's 85,000 of them, by the way. It's another point that should be evident to you, that they're not tearing down these houses. Children are walking to school past abandoned houses where murders occur, where drug dealing occurs. Not only, even if this isn't occurring, imagine being a little girl, a little boy, having to walk past these houses on the way to school and be expected to learn. It would be hard for me. So there's a lot of obstacles that we shouldn't have to contend with, and we can make a difference. Imagine if we all had a database where we could, in an instant, contact one another, just email everybody and say, we're all going down to City Hall. There's a city council meeting. We got 1,000 people. We flood City Hall, and we can change the bills. We can change the bills in Lansing. We can flood the phone lines to DTE, to Consumers Power. We can change the fabric and the policies in the city and the way we live if we all unite. And we're not. We're talking about it. And I have to say, when we go out for an incident of violence on the street, and we have a prayer vigil, and we have a lot of people show up, it's a nice thing. But after we leave, it's the same old, same old. When we leave a neighborhood, the next day, it just continues. We need to change the culture. We need to start working with the children, the babies, all the way up. Teenagers is still too old. We got to start working in the elementary schools, working with the young babies and giving them guidance and love and stepping up. We're not stepping up. Men aren't stepping up. I'm proud to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you. I'm proud to be able to present my guests, and it's been a great year for me, and I hope that you appreciate the work that I do, and I try to be true. And I want to introduce to you right now, this is Teresa Pequise. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And you are the mother of Anthony.
Yes.
And this gentleman next to you looks a little familiar. I think he works with Crime Stoppers.
That's right. That's right.
And would you like to, you're Mr. Anthony Jones.
That's right.
And Anthony was on my show about a month ago, something like that.
About that.
Anthony really understands the heart and the pulse because Anthony was on the other side. Anthony understands the pain that the community is going through. Would you like to just talk about, now you held a high position in government. You were the deputy mayor of Ecorse. And what years was this?
From the year of 2003 till 2007.
Okay.
The year my son was murdered.
And your son was how old when he was murdered?
He was 20 years old.
Okay. Anthony Pequise.
No, Anthony Johnson.
Anthony, I'm sorry. Anthony Johnson. I know this is very hard for you. And the perpetrators have not been brought to justice.
No, and I feel the state police has failed me. They have not returned any of my calls. I even called the Lieutenant Powell. She have not returned my call, and I feel if it was one of their children, it wouldn't take 5 years to get this far. I thank God for meeting Anthony, Mr. Anthony Jones, who introduced me to you to help me feel like I'm getting somewhere. Fox 2, Channel 4, all those stations would make me believe that they're working on the case and they're going to call me with no results, until one day I said, let me try calling Crime Stoppers one more time. And Anthony answered the phone that day, and I'm glad that the Lord touched him to understand where my heart is. I've been trying to reach out since the incident happened, because I don't understand at 3:45 in the afternoon on a Sunday on I-75 with cameras, the MDOT cameras, people driving by, and no one saw anything.
Can we just hold that for 1 second? Because we talked about the cameras, and I want to get into this, but yes. Can we tell everybody what kind of son Anthony was and where he was in his life?
Yes. Anthony was serving on the ministry board at Triumph Missionary Baptist Church under Reverend Solomon Kinlock.
Wow.
He ministered him
on the boulevard.
Well, at the time he was on Liddesdale and at Cass Tech, I believe it was Cass Tech. But the beginning was on Liddesdale in Southwest Detroit.
Okay.
And he was very active.
Was he educated? Did he go to college?
Yes, he graduated from Ecorse High School, and he was on his way into the United States Army because the college was so expensive at the time, and so many different things that I was going through with the political arena that it caused our monies to run short to send him to college. So he chose to go into the Army to be a provider for his fiancée.
He was registered to go in the Army? He had already enlisted?
Yes, he was leaving that Wednesday.
Well, all right. So let's go back a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
How was he growing up? I want to give everybody an idea what kind of nice son you have, what kind of family you have.
He was a good kid. I didn't have any problems out of him. He coached the basketball team. He was a very family-oriented man. He was to me, like, you know how you have one of the kids that like to keep the link going, and
keep the family going.
Yes, and he told me he loved me often. In fact, the day that his life was taken, he hugged me and kissed me and told me he loved me and said he'll be back. But I didn't think that he meant he'll be back in the promised land. I feel in my heart, the only consolation that I do feel at ease, my son knew Christ and he knew God, but I just feel he have 2 children left behind, and he was a father. She wasn't born yet, Anaya, but Nariah was here, and he was a father, the best father that he could be to her, for as far as the mother would let him be. And the day before his life was taken, he told me he was engaged with Parithia. He had a baby on the way, and he was leaving that Wednesday to go in the Army, and I asked him, why the Army? He said, because it's just a war out here, and I think I would do better fighting for my country than dealing with all this nonsense around here, because it was just a lot of things going on in our community. That was even what prompted me.
The war on the streets he was referring to.
Yes. And because our community, where we have children that was just lost and needing guidance, that was the purpose of me running for my political position and even running my construction company, to try to help take some of our children off the streets whose mind wasn't strong enough for college, but their hands was good enough to build. And
I just want to, and his mother, his wife, his fiance, Parithia, is here tonight, and with his little baby girl, and hopefully we might have her on a little later, and his other daughter is not here. So I wonder how Parithia felt about him going in the Army. His plans to go in the Army must have been difficult for her, since he was such a good young man. I know women couldn't wait to see me go away.
I'm really not sure, but I know she supported his dream and he supported hers. His vision was to help her get her education to go through nursing school. She just graduated.
That's congratulations.
Yeah, she's a licensed nurse, and she pursued her career along with being a single good mom to my granddaughter. I'm very proud of her. And but it's just I try to do the best I can as a grandmother to fill in what
what you need is not, in my opinion, we've discussed this. You're looking for closure here. This is from 2007.
Yes.
It's now 6 years since he has been killed.
Yes.
He was killed, correct?
Yes.
And you're still really grieving.
Yes. And it's getting harder. It's not getting easier. And I wouldn't so much call it closure. I would just call it justice, because I feel my closure was when he told me that he loved me and left on that day, April 22nd of 2007. He had me cooking some greens for him. And he told me he will be right back. And my concern was the person that was in the car with him. You know, no one, as far as my knowledge, he was not questioned. He has not came to talk to me when my son was murdered. He called everybody but me and said that he was my son's best friend. He never even came to my house. And I'm praying for him on that. It's hard for me to hold.
His associate.
I would say his associate, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, I'm gonna. I don't want to run this, but I just want to ask you, because there's a lot of details involved, and you are not hardly satisfied with any of the investigation. And I just want to tell the viewing audience that the majority of the time in Anthony, that when there's a murder in the city, and especially today since we're faced with so many acts of violence, that the police don't give it the attention that they so deserve. And the majority of the time, I talked to you about this, they don't even return phone calls, which is what she's facing, and that's a while ago. Now, I want to talk about, if you can, he's driving on the expressway. We're skipping. I wanted to, get the human factor. He was a person. So we wanted everyone to know that he came from a good family, a loving family. And, and I wanted your perspective on what kind of young man he was. So he's driving. Do you want to talk about what happened before the expressway and what you think, what had to do with what you were talking about with me on the phone about what you think could have happened? You just want to give the facts of what you think happened when he was driving that day, or you?
Well, I want to
let you run it.
I would like to be careful on how I would say what my feelings are, because at this point they're considered allegations. But the question that I had to the person in the car with him, who were the people you was talking to at 9 o'clock that morning when I got out of church? And why haven't you come to answer the questions that I had for you? And my family, I know it's not going to bring my son back, but I want to be able to look at his daughters and tell them I tried the best that I can to get justice. Myself, I was a CEO of a construction company, the deputy mayor of city of Ecorse, and his dad, his biological father, served in the United States Army, and he retired. He, in fact, he served over 30 years. Over 22 years in the service. We were not together. I was blessed with a very good husband who helped me raise my two boys. At the time we met, I had 2 sons, and we had one together.
And Lawrence is 20.
No, Lawrence is 17.
Oh, 17.
Yes.
So Lawrence was barely 10 years old.
Right.
When he lost his brother.
And his brother was like the big brother to him. He tutored him. And I thank God that he did. Lawrence is right today, straight A student, 4.0. He graduated this year.
From where's he graduating?
From Ecorse High School.
Okay.
I have not had
That's wonderful, Lawrence.
I don't have any problems out of him.
Against all odds.
Right. Despite of all that we've been
through. A divorced home, and you still.
Well, we were never married.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just young kids growing up. And I was blessed with a very good husband. Me and my husband are still together. We've been together over 17 years. Well, we've been married 17 years, but we've been together 24 years.
Okay. All right, go on.
And So he was blessed to have two good, strong leaders in his life, far as men, to help him, and along with the truant officer for the city of Ecorse, Vincent Parks, and
why? What's the role? He's sort of mentors.
When
Lawrence?
I drop him off, for Anthony. When I drop Anthony off at school, Parks didn't play the disrespectful. You get in school, you go to class. Anthony was a above average student also.
Okay.
And Parks made sure that they did what they were supposed to do while they were in school. I didn't have to worry while my kids were at school.
Does Lawrence go to the same school that Anthony did?
Yes.
So Mr. Parks is still there?
Yes.
Okay, so they know one another, Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay.
He would have attended tonight, but I knew it was limited
Okay.
on how many people we
Okay.
knew.
All right, go ahead. Go on.
And
you were working. You all right?
yeah, I'm okay.
You're working as a deputy mayor. There were some issues.
Yes, it was issues
You
where
want to discuss those? Are you comfortable?
sure,
Okay.
I'll discuss them. At the time, I decided to run for mayor because I felt our city didn't have the proper leadership to save us from going into receivership. And I was connected with pretty good, worthy people that will help us to get our community back on track. We're a small community. The population is like 11,000.
Oh, wow.
And we operate on 11 million a year. And it was nothing for the different MBAs and different people to come and donate money to help us get our city turned around. But unfortunately, I was serving office with people that had a different vision than mine. And when I ran, when I went to get the petitions, they accused
Which
me
petitions?
to be put on the ballot
Okay.
for mayor.
Okay.
And when I did, they said I had signatures that wasn't valid, which they proved that all my signatures were valid.
Who said this to you? I'm not asking for names. What positions did they hold?
It was
The city
through
council,
the
or-
city council who checked the affidavits. You know how you get the petition signed. Who
It wouldn't have
checked-
been. Excuse me. It wouldn't have been the city clerk.
It was the city clerk.
It was
yes.
the city clerk.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So the city clerk just out of nowhere. Well, they need
They-
to validate that. That's their
Yes,
position.
yes.
So they're saying. What are
That-
they saying? to you?
That I didn't have accurate
signatures.
Yes, the signatures, and they went to different people, and some of them was like who hadn't voted in years, but they were voting for me. A couple had retired as veterans and couldn't write that good, and when they went,
But they were registered.
Right.
So they were okay.
Yes.
So they checked this.
But during the time of them checking, they kicked my name off the ballot. They said that because the petitions was due in that Thursday, and my name couldn't go on the ballot. I had to run as a write-in because the community at that time, I was like, well, I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. The community say, no, we want you there. So the people at that time put me in as a write-in, and it was the people that made me be deputy mayor. And
Okay. So we're talking about now you're running for deputy mayor, or you were already deputy mayor and you're running for mayor now at this point.
Yeah, I was already mayor at that point.
Deputy mayor.
I was deputy mayor. I was running for mayor.
Mayor.
Yeah. But my main concern was really after my son was murdered, I gave up the political arena. All I cared about was who killed my son and why. You know, in fact, my vision now is not even in the political arena anymore because I see that that is just not where it's at. I believe if I hadn't have been in politics, I probably would know who killed my son today. And I hope and pray that I'm wrong, but I also hope and pray that I could get justice.
Okay, how can we help you here? How can anybody out here that's watching, and then I want you to talk about the day of his murder, what you think occurred on Express or whatever, but I'd like to know what I can do or what anybody out here can do to help you.
You could put the word out and ask for people to come forward and speak up. I know someone on I-75 in Springwells, just at Springwells, someone saw something that day. All those cars traveled. This was a Sunday.
What was the date?
It was April the 22nd. It was on a Sunday at around approximately 3:45 p.m.
What, 2007?
Yes, of 2007.
April 22nd?
Yes, and he was in
April 22nd, so if anybody's watching, April 22nd, 2007, where was this occurred exactly?
It was
Best.
If you're driving northbound on I-75, as you go, between Schaefer and Springwells, as you go over the bridge and coming down, that you approaching Springwells.
On 75?
Yes. He was shot in the head.
On the expressway?
On the expressway.
And the other guy was in the car with him?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about, and if you want to talk about earlier that day, the young man, but let's talk about the cameras. You and I discussed, I brought this up to you, that I know on every most major freeways, MDOT has cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And just for anybody's information, edification, you can go online to mdot.com and punch in the location of the camera in any area. Now, obviously, we couldn't get that date, and you can look up the camera. Mm-hmm. So what happened with these cameras that day?
Well, from what Detective Ed Price told me, that the cameras was not working. I didn't see any proof or any documentation. I know I wake up early and watch the news, and they show cameras, what's going on 75 and different freeways, and you see cars in transit, and it was like he said the cameras were not working at the time. But
they wouldn't have to show you proof unless they were forced to be shown proof. Okay. Now I don't know what our rights as citizens are. If I'm a parent and I asked, can I see the incident report of the damaged camera or what have you? And I don't know, since it's so long, but so they're telling you the cameras were down.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And because it happened on a highway, it was a state jurisdiction? It was the state police?
Yes, the city of Detroit had to back off because it was on I-75 on the interstate, which caused the state police to take over the case. And I understand there's a lot of different cases going on and everything, but this is my child, and I serve for this community. I serve for the country. I employed and helped a lot of people. I went to a lot of people grieving. As my position, I went to funerals on behalf of our community as a city official, and it's like, I feel like the death of my child was swept under the rug, and he was not a thug. He was a man of God. He was a family man. He was a father. He was really trying to get on the right track despite of all the distraction in our community, where people just caught up in all type of different things. And I even saw on the internet where they said it was something, a deal going bad or something, and my son, if he dealt anything, that's a shocker to me.
Well, I have no idea, but it doesn't matter what someone was doing. No one deserves to lose their life. And not only does someone not deserve to lose their life, we all deserve fairness in this country, but we don't get it.
Right.
And that's what I stand for. And it's very hard for me. It's hard for Anthony. It's hard for just people to understand how our protect and serve people don't give us fairness.
Right.
Okay, so can we just skip back to that morning where you ran into his associate or friend first, right? Before they went out together.
Right. Well, I was out of church, and I was getting out, and I saw him, and I spoke, and he just partially waved at me. He didn't look at me. And
which was odd.
Right.
They had they were friends or associates?
He knew him. He never, Anthony had friends that, he didn't live with me, first of all. Him and Parithia lived together. But as with him coming up, he was not one of the kids that would come at my house and play the video games and come around for the birthday parties and things like that.
He was a different kind of young man.
Yeah, they may meet on the basketball court and play basketball, but he never just came and sat at my house and ate dinner and things like that.
Did you like him?
I didn't really know him enough to pass judgment.
So this behavior You acknowledging him, you seeing him, and he acted different. Was this a different pattern for him?
Well, to me, it was because people know me in the community, and everybody know me speak or they greet me with a hug. They know I have a loving personality towards people, and I greet everyone the same. No little I's or big U's. We are human.
We say that all the time.
Yes.
But as far as he goes, was this different for you and him? Different
the way he spoke to me.
Okay, and you said this to Anthony, didn't you? Didn't you mention to Anthony?
Yes.
Be careful. You had an instinct from that response.
Right.
What did you say to your son?
Well, I told him something wasn't right about the way that he spoke to me. And with me running for the position and I was told to back out, it wasn't my turn to run. I just didn't feel right, and I didn't want him to be around him. Oh, Ma, I don't be around him. I said, okay. And then 3 hours later, they calling me, telling me my son shot, and who was he in the car with? And right today, this gentleman has not come to my house to answer any of my questions. He lived right down the street from me. And my family, they feel that, you know, I need to let it go because it's not going to bring him back. But I want to know in my heart that I sought justice. His kids, I don't want to look at them and feel in my heart that things didn't go right and he didn't listen to me. I just want to know the aftermath. I went for justice.
And that's admirable, and you're a good woman. Have the police in these 6 years, the state police, have they brought him in for question? Did they bring him in initially for questioning?
If they did, I don't know about it.
You didn't.
I asked. I gave Detective Ed Price questions because I told them just what I just told you, because I just don't understand how my son, this happened to my son, and we don't have enough answers to put a puzzle together in broad daylight, 3:45 in the afternoon.
All right, you know what? I want to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk to Mr. Anthony Jones for a minute and get some feedback from him. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in a hot minute, so stay tuned. Don't go away.
The following program does not reflect the views and opinions of Channel 33, its management, or sponsors. You're watching Power Talk on your community TV station, UHF TV 33, Detroit, Highland Park.
Welcome to Metro Foodland, where you will always find courteous service. Our hardworking staff always gives their all to maintain our dairy fresh and wholesome products, cold cuts, premium meats, and of course, we have some of the freshest produce around. Check out our deli and bistro. We also carry specialty items such as Tanisha Noni, Water Station alkaline water, and much, much more. If we don't have it, just ask, and we'll do our best to get it. Remember to ask how to join our Healthy Rewards Club. Seniors and ladies, always ask for an escort to your vehicle. We'll see you soon at Detroit's own community grocer, Metro Foodland, located at 18551 Grand River. That's 18551 Grand River, near Finkel and the Southfield Freeway. Remember, that's Metro Foodland.
Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33.
1,000 men's suits. And right now at Sermons, you can buy one and get two free. Not one suit, but two free. Buy one suit, bring two friends. Buy one suit, bring two relatives. Buy one suit, get two free. Bring your pastor, your boss, your teacher. Buy one suit and get two free. Sermons with 90 years of experience, carrying jeans, exotic skin shoes, sets, shirts, leathers, sweaters, everything for the well-dressed man. Buy one suit, get two free. Sermons on Randolph in downtown Detroit.
Welcome back to Mixing It Up. I'm my very special guest tonight is Teresa Pequis, and she lost her son April 22nd, 2007, and he's survived by his younger brother, Lawrence, who's here tonight, who's graduating this year after his brother was murdered, and he's graduating with honors. So if you've been paying attention, this is a horrific story, and we're trying to help. We also have with us tonight his daughter. This is baby little Anaya, and this is Anthony's daughter, Anaya. If you look at the camera up here, I just want you to say hello, everybody. Say hello into the microphone. She's so cute.
Hi.
Okay. How old are you, Anaya?
5.
5? Put your hands down. Are you nervous? You're a little scared? It's okay. It's just like we're talking in the house. You are beautiful. I have to tell you. You are absolutely beautiful. Who did your hair?
My mommy.
Your mommy did a good job. It's beautiful. Thank you for coming tonight. You chewing gum? Okay. I want you to stay here with your grandma for a minute, okay? You all right? Okay. This is Mr. Anthony Jones from Crime Stoppers. Anthony's no stranger here. Thank you for coming and bringing this unbelievable story to us. What can you add to the story, or what would you like to add? Is there a reward still?
There is still a reward. The one thing that I want to say is that, first of all, Teresa Pequis, she's doing a good job of getting the news, getting the story out to everybody. But my thing is to help the community to understand that you don't have to reveal your identity to help this woman who has obviously been a help to your community. What you need to do is get involved, and you can get involved anonymously by calling 1-800-SPEAK-UP. And what we don't understand about 1-800-SPEAK-UP, Barry, is that 1-800-SPEAK-UP assigns you an identity. They assign you a PIN number, if you will. They assign you a number so that you can be identified only by this number. You never have to use your ID. You never have to tell anybody your name. You never have to tell anybody where you live, even up to the point of picking up your reward. When you pick up your reward, you say, for example, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they give you cash money.
Oh.
You don't get a check. You don't have to deal with a series of questions or anything like that, because what is important is, as Ms. Pequis said, not in this case closure, but justice. You know, somebody is out there doing whatever they feel like they need to do to satisfy themselves. But what we need to do is live as a community. And when we live as a community, we need to step up. If you see something, say something. That's what time it is right now.
Tell them about snitching.
Snitching, that's something, as far as I'm concerned, if Barry and I were out there doing something wrong. Together. Barry and I are partners in crime, and I got caught, and Barry didn't get caught, and I started talking about Barry's involvement in what we were doing, I'm snitching. But in a case like this, when citizens are out there doing what they should do to uplift their community, when citizens are out there doing what they should do to make their community a place where you want to live, and something happens and you know something and you say something, that's not snitching. That's empowering yourself to be a member of your community that wants to keep the community alive and vibrant. You don't want it to go down. You want your community to be somewhere where other people want to live.
Anthony, how much is the reward right now?
The reward, if I'm correct, is $2,500.
And when you say, and I never knew this before, when they get paid in cash, where do they go? They don't go to Crime Stoppers. It just doesn't have thousands of dollars in a drawer.
You may be sent to a bank. You may be sent to a credit union, and we never send people to the same place. It may be Bank One. It may be Comerica Bank. We don't know when they change ourselves as Crime Stoppers.
And they don't take your picture when you go in the bank. You just present a number.
You present a number, and that's it. And another great thing about Crime Stoppers and how serious they are about keeping your identity a secret is that when you make the initial call, the call goes to Canada. So law enforcement can't even subpoena the phone records because it's from another country.
Very interesting. Now, does the perpetrator have to be prosecuted for the reward to be paid? Okay, what has to occur for the reward to be paid?
If the suspect is somebody that law enforcement deems credible to arrest, you get paid.
Person of interest?
For the arrest.
More than a person of interest?
More than a person of interest. They have to be arrested as a suspect for the crime.
So, God forbid somebody calls Crime Stoppers about an incident and gets the reward, and they find out a month later it wasn't the right person. Do they still get to keep that reward?
Let me ask you this question. Being anonymous, how could we find the individual?
There you go.
There's no refund.
You got that, everybody? Great
The
point.
beautiful thing about this is we're not giving out a reward for a conviction. We're giving out a reward for an arrest. And there are some, how can I say it? There are some steps and procedures that we go through to validate the things that we're being told by somebody who has the heart to speak up before we submit this to the police.
Oh, sure, he's investigated.
Yes, we don't investigate it, but we just have a series of questions that help us to validate the information that we pass along to the police. Because after all, we're the middleman. We're keeping you from having to deal with the police officers, prosecutors, or anything like that. All you need to do is share what you know. Tell what you know. Say what you know.
Give them the number again.
It's 1-800-SPEAK-UP.
And Anthony, if somebody wants to talk to you,
that's right.
How can they get a hold of you?
If you want to talk to me, you can call 313-922-5000, and my extension is 24. I'm willing to talk to you about whatever you need to talk about, but I want to tell you this. If you call me and you give me your name and you're talking about a crime, I won't do anything with it because our signature is keeping your identity anonymous.
Right. It goes against the principles of your company.
It destroys our work.
Give him your number again, but you know, when you call, you don't have to know his extension. It will give you a series of choices.
That's true.
There's only one Anthony out of all those.
One Anthony Jones.
Give him
313-922-5000.
I want to thank you and sit tight for a couple minutes. We don't have the ability this moment to show a close-up, but Anthony could have been a movie star. You know who he looks like? El DeBarge.
Now he's talking about Anthony Johnson.
Yeah, Anthony Johnson. He's no movie star right here, but he's a really good-looking man, and we don't want to. And his wife is here tonight. We certainly want to praise the family of the Jones family. Thank you all for coming. Johnson. I'm bad. This young man is like baby El DeBarge. I'm not kidding. He's a good-looking young man.
He did
I mean, really.
He was doing some modeling and photo shoots.
Okay, we got a couple minutes. We were last talking about that morning the unusual response to this young man. And I would like to say, if anybody has any idea, if you were driving on I-75, it's a long time ago, April 22nd, 2007 at 3:45 p.m.
Yes.
And obviously this associate friend, whatever, he was driving.
No, Anthony, my son, was driving.
And didn't the car, Anthony, excuse me, what happened to the car?
It was parked on the shoulder of I-75 when I got out there.
No, I mean, if he was driving and he got shot, the car had to spud a lot out of control.
So he managed.
There was no evidence of anything like that.
Seems that he managed to get off the road.
He managed to commandeer this car somehow, or maybe he wasn't driving. Who knows? But at 3:45, this is an unusual circumstance. If you're listening, 6 years ago, this April, on Springwell, on 75, boy, I know that area like the back of my hand. That's right. When you get off the Fleetwood plant, right?
right?
And the produce,
Right.
I know that whole area. So this was like right underneath the viaduct or close to the viaduct, the overpass, or
Right.
the ramp going down.
Well, the ramp going down to get on I-75. It's a flower like on that little merging sign.
But he was already on the expressway?
Yes, parked.
Okay.
Parked on the shoulder.
All right. Parked on the shoulder. Well, that's where you found it.
That's where I saw the car when I was notified and I got to I-75. His car was parked on the shoulder, but they had already transported him to Detroit.
What kind of car was this?
It was a Cutlass Supreme.
What year?
1996.
What color was it?
It was like a sky blue with tinted windows.
Okay.
4-door.
All right. Anybody has any information? I haven't had one call tonight. I'm very surprised. I'm going to help this woman, and I want to call. I'm going to call this investigating, if he's a detective, whatever his position is, if we can get a hold of him. And I will do that soon. And maybe we can coordinate on this.
I even called his boss.
can.
Okay, well, we can talk about this. What do you want to say? We got 3 minutes. I want you to take this anywhere you want to go.
I just want to say if anyone out there know anything and know the love that I have for people and know the love that my son Anthony had for people and know that his daughter even deserves to know that justice was brought forward, please speak up. You know, the snitching thing, I wouldn't consider it snitching if you really love my son. If you know what happened, even if you don't know my son and you was on 75, put yourself in my shoes as a mother who I felt I worked hard for my children. I did the best that I could to provide for them. And his results came into being involved in church, being involved in serving for his country, and being involved in being a father to his children and a husband to his fiance. And I just feel that put yourself in my shoes as a mother or in my husband's shoes as a stepfather or his father as a father. Would you know, would you want us to know?
How would you feel?
How would you feel?
Let's take a quick call. I don't mean to be rude, but we got... Good evening. You're on the air. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you. How are you?
Okay, thank you.
Good. I wanted to make a comment to the mother on there. What's her name?
Teresa?
Teresa?
Yes.
Don't forget her little gorgeous little granddaughter here.
Oh, I'm on the air?
You're on the... Yeah, my show's on the air.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a screener. I'm sorry. Teresa,
Yes.
I'm a mother myself and a grandmother, and I just want to tell you I am so sorry about your loss. Is there any way that we can say maybe post something on Facebook or a picture of your son, the incident, you know, so that maybe in the Crime Stopper number? Because I have a Facebook, and you know, I want to be able to post something.
Ma'am, I'll let you... I don't mean to interrupt, but the show has a Facebook. I have several Facebooks. We're going to get it. We're going to get this. Crime Stoppers has a Facebook. I have a photo here, but we're closing this out in a minute. I can't get a close-up, but that is very nice of you to ask. We appreciate that. And do you have a comment for this lady?
Yes. I want to thank you for just taking the time and to consider to reach out for me, because with you being a mother, I'm sure, I hope and pray that you don't go through what I'm going through, but with you being a mother, you can understand where my standpoint is. And I just thank you so much for even calling in. And Crime Stoppers do have a Facebook page. Thank you so much.
Call my number, 922.
Thank you.
He's giving you a phone number, ma'am.
You call my number, 922-5000, 313
Okay.
922-5000. We'll help you get it on your page.
Ask for Anthony.
Okay, thank
Anthony.
you, and thank you for having the show.
Thank you for being
It's our
concerned.
pleasure. I just want to say to anybody that's out there, you've been listening, watching this show and from different mediums, look at this gorgeous little girl that he was taken away from. This is ridiculous. We are losing too many men, women, and children in this city.
That's right.
And I don't want to go on to the nature of it because I have an underage child here, but I am sickened to death of the level of what's going on here, and it's not changing. And until we wake up as a community and literally go out of our house, watch what's going on in the streets at night, I mean, we got to get out of our house, turn on our porch lights, and watch our own streets because nobody else is going to do it for you. I appreciate you coming very much, and I am going to hold up to what I said. And we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to walk you guys out. And you'll get this to me somehow. We'll get it up. Anthony, thank you again.
No problem.
Thank you
Anytime.
to all the families that showed up tonight, to your mom, who's beautiful like you are, and your family. Thank you, and happy holidays to everybody. And this is going to be a better year because we're going to make it a better year.
That's right.
All right, we'll be right back with Reverend Mayowa.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Buy one and get two free. Not one suit, but two free. Buy one suit, bring two friends. Buy one suit, bring two relatives. Buy one suit, get two free. Bring your pastor, your boss, your teacher. Buy one suit and get two free. Sermons with 90 years of experience, carrying jeans, exotic skin shoes, sets, shirts, leather, sweaters, everything for the well-dressed man. Buy one suit, get two free. Sermons on Randolph in downtown Detroit.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin.
Did you know that there are over 100,000 abandoned homes within the city of Detroit? If you are tired of abandoned dangerous houses in your neighborhood, please support the Greater Detroit Restoration Project.
Please make all checks and money orders payable to the Greater Detroit Restoration Project. The mailing address, 17301 Livernois, Suite 405, Detroit, Michigan, 48221.
All donations will help fund the expense of boarding up abandoned homes within the city of Detroit and Highland Park. For more information, contact Barry Ross at 248-417-9696 or Minister Malik Shabazz at 313-646-3375.
Unity that brings us together.
Here we are at the end of the Kwanzaa season and the beginning of a new year. The first day of January, January 1st, which marks a new beginning for all of us. A new year, a new opportunity, a new season. And it also marks the last day of the Kwanzaa celebration, Imani, faith. Certainly without faith, we would have not made it this far. Faith is interwoven throughout our lives, throughout our history, on the continent of Africa, and certainly here in America. Faith woven throughout everything that we do, like a kente cloth. For if it was not for faith that our ancestors had in a God that would serve them, that would liberate them, that would free them, faith in a God who was a God of liberation, justice, and peace. Faith in their people, that we would one day be free, educated, and be able to move about the world. And certainly faith that has brought us to this point in our life in the year 2013, where we have the first African-American president serving his second term. Faith that believed in the impossible, and then the work that goes with that faith to make it happen. And so it is that we celebrate the Kwanzaa celebration. It's not just about talking about principles or reflecting on principles. It's about actualizing those principles in our lives. And certainly when we see some of the accomplishments that we have been able to achieve, we certainly know that our faith is active and working and alive. We want to pay tribute to our ancestors, those people who made so many things happen for us. Oftentimes there are movies made about a certain time in history. There's a movie right now out about Lincoln. And I asked someone, well, who played Frederick Douglass? And when they told me he wasn't in the movie, I was shocked. because Frederick Douglass visited Abraham Lincoln several times to convince him that if he wanted to win the war, he would need to employ and encourage the Africans to fight along with him, but they would not do it as enslaved men. And so he was the one, the impetus to encourage to speak. And all throughout our history, we've had great, intelligent, powerful, committed African Americans who have spoke truth to power and created and helped to usher in the changes that were necessary for all of us to be free. So we're going to pour libations now to honor them. To Frederick Douglass, we say Inside. To W.E.B. Du Bois, we say Inside. To Ida B. Wells and Fannie Lou Hamer, we say Inside. To Marcus Garvey, we say Inside. To Malcolm X and Martin King, we say Inside. To Coretta Scott King and Rosa Parks, we say Inside. To Langston Hughes and Sarah Vaughan and Duke Ellington, we say Inside. To our ancient African ancestors, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Stephen Biko, those brothers who fought for liberation on the continent of Africa, we say Inside. We say Inside to our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers who cooked collard greens, cornbread, fried chicken for those pastors as they would march on Detroit streets on Woodward in Washington, D.C. We say Inside. We say Inside to our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers and all those who moved to Detroit to live in Black Bottom, to work for Ford Motor Company and then Chrysler and GM, who transformed this city by providing for their families a strong structure of financial stability, helping to educate their children and allowing them now to be all over the world. To those brothers and sisters who migrated from the South to Detroit, we say Inside. To Second Avenue Baptist Church for being the last stop on the Underground Railroad for people seeking freedom through conductors like Harriet Tubman and many others, the Quakers who assisted with the Underground Railroad, we say Inside. We say Inside to faith, the faith of our forefathers and our foremothers, the faith that believed in the impossible, that could see the future very clearly as one that would be bright and beautiful inside. And we pray that we will live our lives in such a way that is faithful and committed to the call that God has on our lives, so that we too will see a future that is beautiful and bright and possible. We will stop seeing through the lens of someone who has skewed our vision to tell us that our city is nothing and that it's desolate, but we will see our city as a beautiful city built by a mighty river that has the greatest potential in the world. And our children will have a bright future because we have faith in them. And our faith is worked every day. So to the children who are yet to be born, we say Inside. And I drink from the Kikombe Cha Umoja as part of the Kwanzaa celebration, as part of our opportunity to honor the ancestors. And I say, what's good enough for me is good enough for the community. And the secret of life is to have no fear. Inside. And so when we pour libations, we simply put water into a plant, which demonstrates to our children that they have within the power of their hands the gift of life, and to preserve life, and to conserve life. And so that we can begin to think about how we are in relationship to living things. That means people, plants, the earth. What is our relationship? Is it one of dominance and destruction, or is it one of stewardship, fellowship, brotherhood, sisterhood, and community? Because certainly we cannot thrive without community. Communities begin at home and families. So families during the Kwanzaa celebration have an opportunity to reflect on these 7 principles and discover how they can incorporate these principles into their lives so that the family structure can be stronger, and with strong, healthy families. And families come in all sizes, all shapes, all configurations, because a family are those people who care enough to share enough to be what it is that all of us need in order to sustain ourselves and for us to thrive, to move forward. And so we light the candle of Umoja to maintain unity. So that means we work together. That we don't always agree. We don't always see things eye to eye, but we do agree that together we are much stronger than we are apart. And so we come to a consensus. We learn to resolve our differences, but in the spirit of unity, moving forward, unified. Kujichagulia, self-determination. to define ourselves, to name ourselves, to speak for ourselves, instead of being named and defined and spoken for by others. Others will certainly step up to the microphone and define you, say who you are, what you can and cannot do. But with Kujichagulia, with teaching our children Kujichagulia, we get to say to them, it doesn't matter what the media says about you. You are beautiful. You are intelligent. You are capable of excellence, and excellence is what we expect. And then, through their own personal self-determination, they can achieve the greatest heights possible because the family structure is surrounding them in unity and saying that their determination, their definition of who they are is not defined on the outside, but greater is He that is in us than anything that exists in the world. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We must certainly understand, believe, and actualize that it is all of our responsibility. It's not the president's responsibility alone. It's not the mayor's responsibility alone or the city council. It is our personal responsibility, collectively working together to make our families stronger, to make our community healthy. We each have to take a part. We each have to participate. We each have to put our hands to the plow. We each have to pick up trash in front of our own homes. We each have to care for the children in our sphere. We each have to love one another, communicate with one another, and build a strong and healthy community through collective work and responsibility so that it doesn't all fall on one person, but we all pitch in to do our part. Ujamaa, cooperative economics. This seems to be one of the most challenging and daunting tasks because we spend millions of dollars. It's documented. But those millions of dollars are not spent within the community that needs it the most. And so if we can begin to practice cooperative economics and taking those millions of dollars that we spend outside of our community and spend a fraction of them, my prayer is that we would spend 100% within the community in which we live. And then the stores will thrive. And then the businesses will thrive. And then the prices will go down. But we have to have the commitment to spend our money in the community that supports us, that surrounds us, and that pays taxes, that looks like us, so that we can practice cooperative economics. It's not difficult because we're practicing economics and building other communities. They're building malls, they're building freeways, they're building playscapes with money that we spend in other communities. And so we must begin to practice cooperative economics and spend money right here in our own hometown. Metro Foodland, a grocery store on Grand River near Southfield, the Avenue of Fashion, the Gratiot Avenue Business Association. There are all kinds of businesses. The Easter Market, businesses right here in the city of Detroit. If you need food, clothing, whatever you need, you can find it here if you take the time to do the research and then go to the places and use your money wisely. NIA, purpose. Each of us has a purpose, and our purpose is to get on our purpose. Find out what it is that you're really, really good at. Howard Thurman, the great theologian, said, when you find that thing that you would love to do, that it wouldn't matter if you got paid or not, then you're finding your purpose. And so each of us has a purpose to make a difference in someone's life. Each of us has a purpose to do some good in this world before we leave. And so find your purpose. Let 2013 be the year that you find, know, and stay on your purpose. Kuumba, creativity. To do as much as we can in the way that we can. To leave wherever we are more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. Even if you're renting property, you can leave that property more beautiful than when you found it. Because you choose to. Because you're practicing Kuumba. Because you're taking something that you are a part of and making it better because you were a part of it. Kuumba. And finally, today's principle, faith. To believe with all our hearts in our God, our Creator, our leaders, our teachers, those people that we have asked to lead us, that we've promoted as leaders, and when they're not leading us in the way that we think is appropriate, then it's incumbent upon us to call them to task, to ask questions, to challenge. But we have to have faith that all the work that we do, all the challenging, all the questioning that we do will lead to a better day. A better day. We have to believe in a better day, a better community, a better family. And if we work our faith, because faith without works is dead, according to Scripture. And it is impossible to please God without faith. So faith is believing and knowing that even when it doesn't look like we have a future, we believe that we have a future. Even if it doesn't look like, because if you have hope in what you can see, that is no hope at all. If you have faith in what you already can see, that's no faith at all. But having faith and visualizing for yourself, for your family, for our community, a better place. Visualizing harmony and peace within the family, within the community, within the city. That's something that those of us who are faithful can begin to do together so that we can transform our condition. Because as much as we are fed negativity, we begin to live out and believe that negativity, and then it manifests itself as a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we can change that by having faith that our children will have a bright future, because we dare to work together, because we pray together, because we're willing to come together and resolve our differences and work for a better community. So today's principle is faith. You can sit around and tell your faith stories, your testimonies of how you had a challenge in your life and you didn't know how you were going to make it through, and through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, you made your request known unto God, and God of peace guarded your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. You can sit around and tell your children the faith stories of your ancestors, your grandmother, your great-grandmothers, your grandfathers, of how they overcame insurmountable odds because they had people that had faith in them that they could make it. And then we too can have that same type of faith in our young people. They say no matter what the odds are, they can be successful. They can be successful because we believe in them and because we know that they have what it takes to be the best. And so it is that we will reflect on today, we will share a meal, and this will conclude our Kwanzaa celebration. But we are geared up and ready now because we've taken inventory. This is what every business does. They take inventory. What products do they have? What do they need? What sold? What didn't sell? They reevaluate, and then they remarket. And we do the same thing in our lives. We reevaluate what worked for us last year, what didn't work so well. What do we need to change about ourselves, about our habits? What can we change to make better? And then many people make New Year's resolutions. But I say, just transform. Transform by renewing your mind, by reflecting on these Kwanzaa principles and using them in your life in such a way that you will be a transformed human being. And by your transformation, you will transform others. So it is that we pray, that we have faith, that all of us will work together for a better world. Pamoja Tutashinga. Together, we will win. Last night, we had the pleasure of celebrating Watch Night Kwanzaa. Watch Night is a very significant event. It is the 150th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. And Watch Night is a tradition in the African American church where we would gather together in anticipation of that night 150 years ago, waiting to hear the bell strike 12. Because at midnight, it was known that in 1863, midnight, Africans were emancipated through the Emancipation Proclamation. So there's this tradition in the African American community where we will go to church on Watch Night to bring the new year in and to commemorate the Emancipation Proclamation. Well, last night at Fellowship Chapel, we had a fine and glorious celebration of our Watch Night service. And in addition, we interwove the Kwanzaa principles throughout the Watch Night service. Kwanzaa is celebrated by many families in different ways. And so right now, I'd like for you to take a look and share some of the ways that our families celebrate Kwanzaa as they go over the 7 principles of Kwanzaa in their homes.
Umoja, unity that brings us together. Umoja.
Hello, Fellowship family. We are the Hill family. Our principle is Umoja, which means unity, to strive for and maintain togetherness in our community, family, nation, and race.
We have a beautiful time celebrating Kwanzaa. It's wonderful to get together and have unity in what we do. And some things we do specifically for a chance to be together.
We also practice unity, by cooking and serving for the rotating shelter to give back to our community and serve our guests.
We also practice unity within our family. I help my parents with their finances, and my sister and I live together to also combine our finances.
Unity that brings us together.
Who am I? Am I really who I say I am? Am I all that I ought to be?
The second principle of Kwanzaa is Kujichagulia, which is self-determination. The requirement to define and name ourselves in the dignity, affirming, and life-enhancing ways of our ancestors, and always to strive and struggle to bring forth from within ourselves.
Dr. Karanga developed Kwanzaa in 1966 at Long Beach State University, just a short distance from where I was born. I am compelled to see the rich heritage in the proximity and to embrace that legacy in my life's path. My mother named me Sydney, and that's the name I made mine. It's the root of Sig Graphics, my company name. It's an expression of my creativity. My works define me and guide my self-determination.
Hi, fellowship family. We are the Baileys.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility.
We practice collective work and responsibility by working together to make our house a happy home.
When we moved in, everything was totally in need of upgrading. I tore all the walls out, and only to find beneath the wood was this brick, and I had to keep it. So I cleaned it up, I scraped it up, cleaned it up. Drywall, I drywalled this whole wall over here, cleaned all this up. We got the fireplace cleaned up, ripped out all the bookcases, and finished it up. I'm still working on finishing it up.
I'm actually making shrimp and grits.
As usual, I'm doing my homework and reading for 30 minutes.
Working and building our we'll spend our money wisely.
Hello, fellowship family. We're the Hooks family. Ujama is cooperative economics.
We practice cooperative economics here at the Metro Foodland on 18551 Grand River.
We practice cooperative economics by supporting smaller businesses. For example, Sweet Potato Sensations, the Ice Cream Place, Chugga's Main Street Bakery, and Patisserie C.
We support these businesses so that we can profit together, practicing cooperative economics, therefore supporting the community.
We'll spend our money wisely. Nia, we know the purpose of our life.
Habarigani Fellowship family.
We represent the Patton family. Nia, purpose. I light the candle of Nia. Nia stands for purpose.
Each of us is born into life with a divine purpose. The principle of Nia encourages us to get in touch with our inner being. Once we determine who we are and understand the nature of our existence, we will be able to reach our fullest potential in life. Self-realization focuses on our energy and frees us of insecurities and doubts, which allows us to concentrate our efforts on the Nguzo Saba.
Nia, purpose.
We know the purpose of our life. All that we touch is more beautiful.
Kaumba. My name is Audrey Northington. Greetings. Kaumba means creativity. Creativity is constant improvisation, like jazz.
Rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us.
Imani, we believe that we can, we know that we can, we will.
Of our Agani Fellowship family, we're the Humphrey family.
Iman, faith. To believe with all our hearts in our parents, our teachers, our people, our children, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle.
To learn more about Kwanzaa, you can read First Fruits, a family guide to celebrating Kwanzaa, written by our mom, Mommy Imani Humphrey.
And we can practice faith in many ways, including going to church, or saying your prayers, or going to the mosque, or reading uplifting books, and many things that we can do. So if we believe that we can take that which we have had, the victory of our struggle, and use it for the next phase, because only an era that passes. The people are still here, our needs are still here. I believe in our victory. I believe in our righteousness. I believe in the outcome of our struggle. And I certainly believe in peace. We want to be successful. We have to believe that we can. We have to set goals that are promising and achievable. And we do that, then everything that we do, we have to believe in it, especially in the divine creator. I would like to pass on finally that we should see the divine in each person that we encounter in our families, in our community, in our churches, in the diaspora. We need to not look down on our people, which is what's happening. Just ignore them or look down on them or castigate them. That's not the kind of people we should be. And so we have to believe that it's going to be better. It's not always going to be like this. And that's what our people believed all along when they built things for our future, just as we have to build things, institutions, and programs for our children's future. Asante.
Imani, we believe that we can, we know that we can, we will anyway. That we can.
And so it's all about family. It's all about love. It's all about working together. And it's all about practicing the principles in our lives. And it's certainly been an honor and a privilege to share this day with you, to share these principles with you. And now it is my privilege to turn it back over to my brother and friend, Barry Ross. Mixing it up with Barry Ross. It's certainly an honor to work in unity with him as we are self-determined to make Detroit a better place through cooperative economics, collective work and responsibility, knowing what our purpose is, being creative all the way. Thank you, Baba Lumumba, for all of his input, and having faith that together we will make a difference.
I have to humbly praise and acknowledge Reverend Maya Reynolds from Fellowship Chapel. For the past 6 weeks or so, I have turned over my show to her, the last segment. And I've been doing this for pretty much the course of a year. I've had groups, the Better Detroit Youth Movement, Victor Muhammad. I have given it to young people. I gave it to Pastor Barrack Holmes. Here's my point. Anybody of substance within the community in Detroit that is apparent to me and us that they are making a difference, I want to work my show with them. And I got to be honest, it helps me, it helps them, and it helps the community. If we can enrich each other, I'm all for it. I've already been with the Nation of Islam, all right? So it doesn't matter. I want to cross all bridges. I want to close all the gaps. And this woman, Reverend Maya, and I certainly have to honor her beautiful husband, Lumumba Reynolds, who puts these together. They have been videoing at their home. And look at this show tonight. Culture, Christmas, tradition, artists, music, education. So at 10 o'clock every Tuesday, Reverend Maya Reynolds, I can honestly commit to a minimum of 6 weeks from today that she'll be on. And I certainly couldn't believe I'm going to top the quality of this beautiful woman. Listen, she's an educator. She's a preacher under Wendell Anthony, president of NAACP, Fellowship Chapel. She teaches dance, African dance. She's a teacher, and I'm going to find out the name of this school. I always forget the name of the school that she teaches at, and I'm going to go there, and I want to meet her students. Reverend Maya Reynolds, a happy, healthy, safe, prosperous new year of beginnings and wonderment for you, your family, and everyone that crosses your path that you have an influence on. And my God, you certainly have an influence on people. I am a better person. I am enriched from knowing you. I met Reverend Maya Reynolds in an event last year, The Death of Democracy. When she spoke, I knew I had to talk to this lady and get her on my show. We then met on 6 Mile, Wyoming, for some beatings that had been occurring. This woman is all about action. She comes into the community. She goes out in the streets with us. And greats like Teferi Brent at Wendell Anthony's church. They are now crossed over with a very good friend of mine, Pastor Ovella Andreas, Thou Shalt Not Kill. We have many great people who we have united with. It Takes a Village, y'all, Robert Robinson, who I have the utmost respect and love and admiration for. The Better Detroit Youth Movement. Jay from Jay's Fades. Jay owns a barbershop on 6th and Livernois, and if you ever want a haircut, you go see Jay. It's just north of 6 Mile on Livernois on the first block. And by the way, this show is brought to you by Sermons Clothes, where every day is a holiday. Every day is buy one suit, get 2 free. And if you say you saw it, that commercial on my show, they'll give you a free tie or a free shirt. I have a call, but I can't take it. I want to acknowledge my very close friend, associate, comrade, Malik Shabazz, who has also made me a stronger, more courageous man, giving more to the community. My God, we got to look out for each other. Pastor Germany Bennett in Detroit, Barrack Holmes, Pastor Holmes. I met some very great men and women in the past couple years, and I am the founder of Detroit Coalition Against Violence and the Greater Detroit Restoration Project. I'm going to see if I can take a quick call. Good evening. You're on the air. We got about 30 seconds. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I know I laughed. I'm just appreciating your program, appreciating your good work, and I just wanted to wish you Happy New Year and much success in 2013 on your show, my friend.
Did you hear me praise you and acknowledge you?
Well, I started to hang up so that you could continue on with the praise.
I was too busy acknowledging my close allies, friends, associates. I said you have made me a better man, a stronger man, a more confident man. I was just telling the other day how low my confidence is, but being around you, you always uplift me. And by the way, I heard you were at the Fox Theater last night, and people were just coming up to you. Minister Shabazz, we love what you do for the city, man. I heard hundreds of people were acknowledging you, and I'm so glad. You know, I want to see you get appreciated, Minister.
Well, thank you, Barry. But what was most of all awesome about it was the young people. Not only the old, but the 20-year-olds, the 22-year-olds, the 25-year-olds who knew my name and wanted.
We got to
to
cut
shake
it
my
short.
hand.
I'm just letting you know. I don't mean to be rude, but I didn't want to even take the call. We got 5 seconds.
Oh, go ahead. Well, just Happy New Year, my friend.
All right, I love you. I always will, and thank you, Malik.
Okay, peace.
Bye-bye. Grayson School is Maya Reynolds. Is it Grayson Elementary? All right, and I want to acknowledge this station. I want to acknowledge Hodo. We have grown closer. We had walked over some rocky roads for a minute here, and I'm not here to take over. I'm only here to be here. And I want to acknowledge R.J. Watkins for having me in the station. So until next week, I only want to better my shows every week. I love you all. Peace. See you next week. Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33.
Are you truly bored with TV? Coming soon, your void will be filled. The other viewpoint is on the way. The Comcast Channel 90 in Southfield, Bloomfield, Royal Oak, Madison Heights, Hamtramck, Roseville, Wixom, Oak Park, Beverly Hills, Kiko Harbor, and many, many more cities. Detroit's TV 33 is coming to 33 cities. Check your local Comcast provider now. You'll be able to get the very best in entertainment as only the Hodo Show and the Other Viewpoint can provide. But if you can't wait, catch me live every Sunday at 10 p.m. on www.tv33whbr.com. That's tv33whbr.com. Remember, I am your brother. There is no other. I'm Hodo. Who are